I'm Michael, and this is Gemma.
Mr. Soria.
Our first scene consists of the explosion, and this is the introduction of the characters. The first character that will be introduced in our film will be the main female character, actress called Riley, and the first scene will consist of the character being in a room with low-key lighting and being almost interrogated in a way. We're gonna use a palindromic structure, and we're going to start with the ending. And the reason for doing this is so it gets the audience wondering what's happening. And the scene and the set the atmosphere we hope to create will be eerie, and we've not considered who will be asking questions yet. However, during the later stage of the production, we will implement that in.
This leads to the conflict which occurs between two main characters. It arises when the female character has superstitions that the male character is speaking or seeing another person.
The two characters will be chilling and watching a film when Ethan's phone will go off, and then Riley will start to question his faithfulness, and this will be shown in the form of a flashback from the scene that I just explained, and this will when we'll start developing the conflict. The rise in action will be when after Riley follows Ethan when he says that he's going out, just going out for a bit. So even the audience will have superstition of Ethan's faithfulness, and so her body language suggests that there is a problem, and she seemed very distressed. And the climax and the after the rise in action will be when Ethan turns out to be a psycho when he finds out that Riley has been following him, and like all after build up of conflict over time. And we're not 100% sure what it will lead to, but we're going to portray Ethan as a really psychopathic person, and it could be either chasing her in a very provoking manner as if he was going to kill her, and then this will then lead to the fall in action, which will be back at the start. So the fall in action will be when Riley escapes, and then we're not sure how it's going to work, but Riley will escape, and then she'll be back at the interrogation room as seen in the first scene.
Okay, thank you so much. So, the first thing I want to ask, you've got Riley who's a female character, and you had a kind of an example of the lighting that you'd found from a pre-existing. What kind of things do you think you're going to be looking at in terms of test footage? Have you found a room that you would like to kind of use, or is it just going to be the idea is for it to be in pitch black and then just self-lit?
We've not found a specific room, but we do know it wouldn't be as hard as other location scouting, because the room will just literally have to be black with one main spotlight on Riley, and so let's say speaking over a table maybe with like a spotlight.
Okay, and do you think that in order to get that kind of idea of the interrogation, you're going to try and use the shot reverse shots ideas, yeah? Okay, cool. Ethan and Riley, you've said about the kind of the idea of just sitting there watching a film and then kind of like it then building in climax. Is that kind of the flashback a link to the sort of cultural contexts that 21st century audience would be able to understand, the idea of, you know, I'm taking this liberally here of the Netflix and chill? Is that the kind of idea that you wanted to
as you can see in our picture, it was just a very like modern couple, like just not doing anything like extraordinary, like going out on a date or nothing, just chilling. So we hope that maybe couples in the 21st century would be able to relate to that, because sometimes phones go off and you do build up superstition, but we're trying to emphasise that.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. Script development. You've said kind of like a couple of things throughout this pitch as to what you would like them to say. Have you started to develop the script yet, or are you going to do the test footage first?
We're going to do the test footage first and then start developing the exact scripts.
Okay. You've said clearly as well the idea of sanity. So the idea of the binary opposition of sanity versus, you know, insane. How do you want the character to be represented? Do you want them to like flip a switch kind of idea for when Ethan starts to kind of get a bit irate, or how do you think it's going to happen? Do you think it's going to happen suddenly, or do you think we're going to see it kind of build up over the 2 minutes?
It's going to be very sudden, and it's going to be literally like, say Riley turns around, then the music will change.
Okay.
The facial and all the body language will suddenly change, the lighting, and then it will be like, this has happened, he's now a psychopath.
Right,
But
okay.
we won't give any clues away until that precise moment, so it make it even more like crazy for the audience.
Because from the
to
start,
watch.
you
Yeah.
think it's her that's psycho.
Okay.
Possessive and stuff.
Okay, so the idea of possession as well, yeah? Okay. You've said about a chasing scene, potentially. Do you think that where do you think you'd film that? Do you think you'd film that in a crowded area? So as in, you know, down a high street or a busy place, or somewhere that's a bit more kind of isolated?
I was thinking either like a forest or actually
We understand both scenes. Like we could do it through a high street where it's like pushing through everyone, or we could do it through a forest where it's more like isolated, makes it more scary for the female character running away. We're going to explore both sort of.
So that will be you have a look at that in your test footage, yeah? Okay. And because obviously this is only 2 minutes, you've covered a lot of things there in terms of trying to get parts of the character through, which I think is really nice because you're actually building up a bit of intensity for us as an audience. The one thing that I would say is, are you going to try and use the idea of kind of montages, because you've said the idea of flashback, flash forward, so you can see the interrogation scene and the bit where they're kind of sitting down, but have you thought about the idea of like very quick snippets, or is it going to be that we see like 30 seconds of acting at the beginning in the interrogation and then we see all of these bits?
The main idea is that the whole opening is her in the interrogation along with flashbacks. So there'll be
Okay.
flashbacks to good memories
Mhm.
where they're sitting, and we might portray that through like a little bit happier lighting, and then it will go back to her sitting, and then it will go back again to like to what I explained earlier with like the intense music, and when he's a psychopath, and it will go back and forth, not just like acting.
No, that's brilliant. Okay, thank you so much.